Have you ever felt trapped in situations that drain your energy, yet you hesitate to walk away? You're not alone. We often fear change, fearing that letting go means failure. But what if I told you the opposite is true? Sometimes, walking away isn't a weakness, it's the bravest decision you'll ever make to reclaim your life. In this video, we'll explore the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that empowers you to build resilience, master your emotions, and live with purpose. Through 8 powerful lessons, you'll discover why leaving isn't a sign of defeat, but a necessary step toward breaking free from what holds you back. Whether you're stuck in a toxic relationship, an exhausting job, or overwhelming negativity, this video will help you find clarity and the courage to change. The time has come to take control of your life. Are you ready to step out of the darkness and into true peace and freedom? Lesson 1. Your energy is not for everyone and everything. Picture yourself in a vibrant marketplace alive with colors, sounds, and enticing aromas. Every stall represents a part of your life relationships, career, passions, and daily interactions. And in your hands, a single basket holding your most valuable and finite resources, time and energy. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once observed, "It is not that we have too little time, but that we lose much of it. In this vast market, your choices matter. Every stop you make, every item you pick up, depletes what's inside your basket." Some stalls are filled with negativity, much like thorny weeds choking out a garden. These are the spaces of endless gossip, toxic connections, and obligations that add nothing but exhaustion to your life. Holding on to them, hoping for change, is like pouring water into a cracked vase it will never hold. Yet, among the chaos, there are stalls of warmth, wisdom, and opportunity. These are the places where genuine friendships thrive, where passions ignite, where conversations leave you feeling enriched rather than drained. This is where your time and energy truly belong. To move wisely through this market, you must ask yourself, does this align with who I want to become? Does this relationship nourish me or deplete me? Is this a meaningful investment or just a fleeting distraction? Will this bring me peace or pull me into chaos? Does this conversation elevate me or leave me feeling empty? Is this the best way to spend what I can never get back? Letting go of what drains you isn't cruelty, it's clarity. It's the understanding that protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's essential. When you stop pouring into the wrong things, you create space for what truly matters to grow. And remember, walking away doesn't always mean a grand exit. Sometimes it's as simple as shifting your attention, politely disengaging, or setting quiet but firm boundaries. Each conscious choice you make shapes a life of meaning, strength, and fulfillment. Lesson 2. Boundaries are not selfish, they are essential. Life is like a dance floor, where every interaction is a step in an intricate routine. For the dance to be smooth and harmonious, each person must respect the rhythm, space, and flow. Boundaries are what keep the dance graceful. They create balance, prevent collisions, and ensure that both partners move freely without stepping on each other's toes. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus emphasized the importance of living in alignment with your values, a principle that includes setting healthy boundaries. Contrary to common belief, boundaries are not about shutting people out or building walls. Instead, they are about defining the space in which you can thrive while fostering mutual respect in your relationships. Imagine yourself on a dance floor. To move with confidence, you need space. Too much intrusion from a partner can throw you off balance, while too much distance can break the connection. If someone keeps stepping too close, pulling you in a direction you don't want to go, or ignoring your cues, you have every right to adjust, reset, or even step away. In life, boundaries serve the same purpose. They help you decide what you will accept and what you won't, protecting your emotional well-being and preventing exhaustion or exploitation. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-respect. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, give yourself the same respect you so freely give to others. This means you should not sacrifice your mental or emotional health just to gain approval or avoid discomfort. When you say no to what doesn't serve you, you make room for the things that truly matter. How to set boundaries effectively. Know your values. Clearly define what matters to you so that you can set boundaries that align with your priorities. Communicate with confidence. Express your limits with clarity and firmness while remaining respectful of others. Resist over-explaining. You don't owe lengthy justifications for your boundaries. A simple, firm response is enough. Learn to say no without guilt. Declining a request doesn't mean rejecting a person. Sometimes saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. Stand your ground. Guilt and external pressure can challenge your boundaries. Don't let them erode what you've set in place. By setting boundaries, you create a space where you can grow, recharge, and build meaningful connections without feeling drained. Remember, protecting your peace is not selfish, it's an act of self-care and self-respect. Lesson 3. Releasing is strength, not surrender. Life often tempts us to hold on to things long past their time of fading: relationship, a job that drains us, or expectations imposed by others. We convince ourselves that letting go is equivalent to giving up, that walking away means losing a part of ourselves. But in reality, knowing when to release something is not a weakness, it's a profound act of courage and self-awareness. Picture yourself climbing a steep mountain, carrying a heavy backpack loaded with stones. Each stone represents an emotional weight, a toxic friendship, lingering fear, or an obligation you feel pressured to fulfill. The higher you climb, the heavier the load becomes, slowing you down, exhausting your strength. You hesitate to let go, believing these burdens define your journey. Then, a realization dawns. You are not meant to carry everything. As you remove each unnecessary stone, your steps become lighter, your breath steadier, your vision clearer. By releasing what no longer serves you, you gain, not lose, momentum. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control, and some things are not." You cannot rewrite the past, nor dictate how others behave. But you can control what you give your energy to, what you choose to carry forward, and what you choose to leave behind. When is it time to let go? When a relationship feels more like an obligation than a source of joy, when a job offers security but no fulfillment. When a situation forces you to shrink rather than grow, when fear of change is the only reason you're holding on. Letting go is not about abandoning your dreams, it's about making room for new ones. It's choosing growth over stagnation, peace over struggle, and clarity over confusion. A closed door is never the end of the road. It's a signpost directing you to a new path. The moment you embrace the freedom of release, you open yourself to possibilities far greater than what you were afraid to leave behind. Lesson 4. You can't control everything. In life, we often try to control everything: our careers, relationships, how others perceive us, and even the outcomes of our efforts. But the harder we grip, the more anxious and lost we feel. The truth is, control is often an illusion, and the more we chase it, the further peace slips from our grasp. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once taught, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control, and some things are not, Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. But if you gently open your palm, the sand remains steady. This is the essence of letting go, accepting that not everything is meant to be controlled. The moment you stop fighting the uncontrollable, you allow peace to enter your life. What's within your control vs. what's not. You can control your actions and reactions, how you treat others, your thoughts, emotions, and decisions, where you invest your time and energy. You cannot control what others think of you, the behavior and opinions of others, unexpected events and external circumstances, the past or the future. Trying to control what is beyond your reach only leads to frustration and stress. Instead, focus on what you can change and learn to release what you cannot. How to apply this in your life? Recognize what's beyond your control when facing difficulties. Ask yourself, is this truly within my power? If not, let it go. Embrace uncertainty. Life is ever-changing. Sometimes, what seems like a setback is actually leading you to a better opportunity. Practice patience and resilience instead of reacting emotionally to challenges. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that this too shall pass. Direct your energy wisely. Don't waste time worrying about others' opinions. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You may not be able to stop the storm, but you can prepare yourself to face it. True freedom comes when you release the need for control and trust in your own ability to adapt. When you do, life becomes lighter, clearer, and infinitely more peaceful. Lesson 5. Not everyone deserves an explanation. One of the biggest misconceptions we carry is that we owe people an explanation for our choices. We feel the need to justify our decisions, to soften the blow of a no, or to make sure others understand our reasoning. But the truth is, not everyone deserves that level of access to you. Think about it. When was the last time you explained yourself just to avoid conflict or to make someone else feel better? Did it truly change the outcome, or did it only exhaust you? A person who respects you will accept your decisions without demanding constant justifications. If someone continuously pushes you for explanations, refuses to respect your choices, or makes you feel guilty for setting boundaries, it's a sign they may not have your best interests at heart. True confidence is knowing that your choices don't require external validation. You don't need to write a dissertation on why you're prioritizing yourself. Sometimes a simple, "This isn't right for me," is enough. Remember, you are not responsible for how others react to your boundaries. You are responsible for making choices that align with your peace, happiness, and well-being. Lesson 6. Loyalty shouldn't mean endless endurance. Loyalty is a beautiful quality, but only when it is directed toward the right things: your values, your well-being, and relationships that nurture you. Too often, loyalty is mistaken for endurance, leading people to stay in situations that no longer serve them. Many people hold on to jobs, friendships, or commitments simply because they've already invested so much time. But staying in something just because of how long you've been there is like refusing to leave a burning house because you've already decorated it. The past effort does not justify future suffering. Ask yourself, am I staying because this truly enriches my life, or because I'm afraid of change? The strongest form of loyalty is loyalty to yourself. It means recognizing when something is no longer aligned with your growth and having the courage to walk away. It means understanding that leaving doesn't erase the good times. It simply acknowledges that you have outgrown the space you once occupied. So don't feel guilty for outgrowing people, places, or commitments. Growth is a natural part of life, And choosing yourself doesn't mean you're betraying others. It means you are honoring your own path. Lesson 7. Embrace the impermanence of life. Everything in life is temporary. Our feelings, our circumstances, even the people we think will be with us forever. Yet, we often resist change because it makes us feel unsafe or uncertain. But resisting change is like trying to stop the ocean waves with your hands. It only leads to exhaustion and frustration. The more you try to cling to what was, the harder it becomes to enjoy what is. Instead of fearing impermanence, what if we embraced it? Imagine if trees refused to shed their leaves in autumn, desperately clinging to them in fear of winter. They would never make space for new growth in spring. The same applies to us sometimes. We have to let go of what we once were to become what we are meant to be. The friendships that fade, the doors that close, the emotions that pass, these are not losses, but natural transitions. Every ending makes way for a new beginning. Every goodbye teaches us something about ourselves. Rather than resisting change, learn to flow with it. When you stop fearing impermanence, you find a deep sense of peace because you no longer waste energy trying to hold on to things that are meant to evolve. Lesson 8. Don't let guilt keep you trapped. Guilt is one of the most insidious emotional weights we carry. It whispers in your ear, telling you that putting yourself first is selfish, that saying no will disappoint others, and that prioritizing your own well-being is somehow a betrayal. It convinces you that you owe everyone an explanation, an apology, or a sacrifice. But here's the truth: most of the guilt you feel is not an accurate reflection of reality. It is a learned response, a conditioned belief designed to keep you compliant, to make you easier to control, and to ensure that you always put others first, often at your own expense. From childhood, many of us are taught to be agreeable, to put others' needs before our own, and to feel bad whenever we choose ourselves over someone else. We internalize the idea that being a good person means always being available, always saying yes, and never letting anyone down. But this mindset is not sustainable. Living under the weight of guilt forces you into decisions that don't serve you, leaving you exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from your true self. The hidden cost of guilt. How many times have you agreed to something just to avoid guilt? How often have you put your own needs aside because you are afraid of being perceived as selfish? How many opportunities have you turned down? Relationships have you endured? And energy have you wasted simply because guilt told you that you had to? Saying yes when you really want to say no doesn't just affect you, it affects the quality of your relationships. It creates an unhealthy dynamic where people begin to expect more than you can give. And worse, it conditions them to believe that your needs are always secondary. The more you give into guilt, the more you reinforce the idea that your time, energy, and emotions are available on demand. But here's the thing: you are not responsible for managing other people's emotions. You are not obligated to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You are not required to explain or justify every decision you make, especially not to those who take advantage of your willingness to please. Breaking free from guilt. The moment you decide to prioritize your well-being, the guilt will show up. It will try to convince you that you are making a mistake, that you are letting people down, that you are abandoning your responsibilities. But guilt is not a reliable guide. It is simply a reflex, a habit of the mind that can be unlearned. So how do you break free? Recognize when guilt is misplaced. Not all guilt is valid. If you feel guilty for choosing rest, setting a boundary, or saying no to something that doesn't serve you, ask yourself, am I really doing something wrong, or am I just uncomfortable because I'm breaking an old habit? Reframe your thinking. Instead of saying, I feel bad for saying no. Try, I am choosing to respect my limits, instead of thinking, I should do this because they expect me to. Remind yourself, I have a right to choose what's best for me. Practice saying no without over-explaining. You don't have to justify your decisions. A simple, that doesn't work for me, or I can't commit to that right now, is enough. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Let go of the need to please. You are not here to make everyone happy. No matter how much you give, there will always be someone who wants more. Focus on what brings you peace, not on what earns you approval. The price of putting yourself first. Yes, when you start prioritizing your own well-being, some people may not like it. You may lose relationships that were built on the expectation that you would always comply, always be available, always put others first. But ask yourself, are these really the kinds of relationships I want to keep? What you gain in return is far greater. When you release guilt, you gain freedom. When you stop living for others, you start living for yourself. When you let go of the fear of disappointing people, you finally step into a life that feels like your own. So stop carrying guilt for doing what's best for you. Stop apologizing for setting boundaries. Stop feeling bad for protecting your energy, because at the end of the day, the only person who truly needs to be happy with your life is you.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.